86% of our followers said they're more likely to let the relationship fade out than to end it via any sort of official conversation. So we had talked about this on a couple episodes previously. About friend breakups. We opened up talking about it. We were just like, these are crazy, and like they happen, and I don't think we give them the respect they deserve.
Yeah, I actually think we talk about it a lot here and there.
We mention it,
but
for sure.
We haven't opened it up to blue ballers.
Well, and I'm not really. I want to hold space. I want to hold space for us to do a whole episode on it at some point.
Yeah, no, we can do that.
But we ended up opening it up to our Instagram audience just to be like, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah.
And so I asked our audience a couple different questions. The first thing I started out with is like, does a friend breakup hurt the same as a romantic one? And 77% of people said that friend breakups hurt just as much as romantic ones. And we had so many people DM us separately to be like, it hurts even worse than a romantic breakup.
Were they the ones breaking up with, or the ones being broken up with?
They didn't say, but like the general idea is just like friend breakups in general. Like, how does this feel? And a lot of the responses that we got from this were just like, because friendships oftentimes last a lot longer than flings or short relationships or even long relationships. Like, if you think about the friends you've had in your life, a lot of them are years long. So when they fade out or you have a breakup, like, it hurts all the same. Like, that's a person who was consistent in your life who no longer is. So that was the big takeaway there.
That's so interesting, just because my 2 friend breakups were with people I instigated the breakup with, and I actually felt so relieved because they were toxic people. But I guess there's so many different scenarios, and I understand everything you're saying.
And it's like, you might have felt relieved when it happened, but I remember as it was occurring, like, you felt a ton of distress around it. The same way you would a breakup. It was like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like, is it better? Is it not? So like, the same way with a real breakup, you might feel relieved
like
after.
Yeah, it's the literal breakup is distressing, and then I think in the afterthought, it's like, it's harder, at least for me. I rebound with my exes, and I don't really rebound with my ex-friends.
Well, and so I asked if our followers were more likely to let a friendship fade out or to actually break up, because it's kind of what we were talking about, where it's like, we don't do breakups the same way with friends as we do with partners. 86% of our followers said they're more likely to let the relationship fade out than to end it via any sort of official conversation, which I thought was interesting. So I followed up and I said, okay, but if you were the one being broken up with, would you rather have them tell you or ghost you? And 78% of people said they'd rather be told why the relationship is ending than have them be ghosted.
Shit with dating.
Right. But it was, and someone DM'd us and was like, okay, fine, I get it. We're hypocrites. And
we're proud of you for admitting it.
Well, and that's the thing though, is like, I think because we don't do this, we don't talk about it, like, as a culture, we don't say that you should break up with people who are your friends, but everyone, I feel like I would rather have someone tell me.
I mean, like everything you said before, why it hurts even more, because it's not a romantic relationship. It's platonic. There's more comfortability. There's more communication.
It's just so interesting that we don't require that from people. Like, I'm curious. I would love, are there like friendship professionals in the world? I would love to ask one, like, why we don't do that for people. Just be like, what, like, I feel like we allow ourselves the opportunity to just like ghost friends because there's no one saying that we shouldn't.
I don't get how that's possible.
You know,
I could never ghost the 2 people who I broke up with. Like, they're the ones always texting me.
I guess that's true. Like, some people, I think, like, I'm trying to think if I've ever had like a breakup, and the truth is I don't think I've broken up with any friends. I've had very natural fallouts. Like, I went to college or I moved to the city, and like things have just like naturally fallen apart.
Yeah.
And then for other friends, it was like there was a clear big moment. There was like a big fight, or there was a thing, and it was like, and then we just didn't really speak after that.
A dramatic event.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that was mostly when you were younger?
I haven't really had to officially break up with a friend as an adult. I feel like I've gotten better at choosing who I spend my time with, you know? So like,
I kind of think the friend breakups are, I want to hypothesize that they're mostly with people who you have grown up with, who you have the longest history with. Because that's what we're also talking about. Like, people are afraid to break up.
but wouldn't it change too, like, if as an adult you've been friends with someone for so long and then it's like, okay, this has become toxic?
People don't know that they're allowed.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll add in here is, why do people break up with their friends? We had a lot of people respond. We had a bunch of people call in, thank you. Aww. And a lot of it was like, we just started to grow into different phases of our lives. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't because of something very personal, where it was like they politics or they started dating, they started cheating on my boyfriend with, like, cheating on me with,
super valid.
Do you know how do you phrase that?
That person's
they started having sex with my boyfriend, or girlfriend, or like
that is a popular one.
Or they met somebody new, like a new friend, and they just started ignoring them.
They were like replaced,
which is something we would do normally in a dating relationship too, right? Like, you're happy with somebody, you meet someone new, and then you have to break it off.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah,
is all I'll say.
We just want to give you all permission to evaluate every friendship in your life, every relationship.
And you're allowed to, like, and you're allowed to cut out friends who are bad for you, who are toxic, who don't hold space for you and give you the respect, or the people in your life respect. Like, there was one person who said that they were really good friends with a person who in private conversations would talk shit against, like, their other friend who was gay, and say, like, really terrible things about the LGBTQ community. And they were like, I can't continue to be friends with you if you're going to outwardly say these, like, really disparaging things against our other friends' community.
That person
super
is a really
valid.
Person.
Like, that's a great reason to cut a person out.
You need to have friends who stick with your values, or who have shared values. They don't have to be the same as you. In fact, I mean, again, Rachel and I are so fucking opposite. The reason we work is because we have shared values. And
there are, like, certain values that, like, I wouldn't budge on. Like, if you're trying to tell me that a certain race of people is less than, or a certain orientation of person is less than, like, no, we're not going to be friends.
No,
like, I'm not going to.
You're an ex-supremacist.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah.
But if your opinion is, you know, you
like a certain movie that you fucking hate.
Yeah, or you're more of a morning person. Like, you know, like, little certain, like, whatever. Like, you like Chinese food and I hate Chinese food. That's a lie, but
it's interesting how different people can be in terms of taste and flavor, but get along so well because they have the same shared core values, which are very different than your interests. Okay.